you free the frog. I'm going to rig Sweeney's chair. It's more fun.
And that's a potential firing. All right, welcome back to another School Principal Reacts. We're continuing to go through Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. This episode is called Gross Biology Dissection. I looked at that, and I do not typically look at the episode titles in advance because I don't want to give myself any spoilers, but I have a guess as to what this is about, but I don't know where the story is going to go. I see in this random still frame Ned and Gordy looking at this, whatever animal that is. I don't know if they're trying to bust them out or what, but I'm very interested to see what happens here in this episode. Just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to my channel, especially if you watch my videos, please just take a brief moment and click the button below to subscribe. Let's go.
There is one event in middle school that separates the bold from the squeamish and turns you from a student into a scientist in one day.
Tomorrow
Dissection.
is dissection day.
Yeah. I do remember this, by the way, these different reactions. I never taught biology or anything like that, but I remember being a student and going through this. I also remember serving at a couple of schools, one in particular that tended to do a lot of dissections because they had an AP biology course, and that was very much part of it. So I don't see this as much in middle school. I'm sure some schools do it. Let me know in the comments whether you had anything like this in middle school. I myself had it in ninth grade. I remember doing this on several different very small animals. I hear other people that had it in high school and will tell stories about it, but not so much in middle school. But it is very much part of biology courses, but more in high school.
You will extract vital organs from a frog and learn how the body works.
Okay. And that is kind of what a dissection is. Now, it's not just, oh, cut it open and see how it works. You're typically learning the anatomy of whatever animal it happens to be. I've seen frogs, the fetal pigs, earthworms, cats, various other small animals. And so you learn the anatomy and you have to go in and like identify the various parts that you do cut them out, but you don't just cut it out and see what's inside. You're going to be completing some sort of lab. It's basically a lab dissection. Like in another type of science lab, you would be doing a certain task and measuring certain things. It's kind of the same, except you're dissecting an animal.
I can't believe it. We're going to do dissection tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
And by the way, one more thing, I do remember different reactions to it. There are some students who they just barely got by and didn't want to do it and only really did it because they had to or didn't want to receive a failing grade. There were others that were really, really excited about it for whatever reason. And so you get different reactions in different classes to this.
This is so wrong. Frogs belong in the wild, not the lab table. Oh, yeah. Well, which is it, Ned? Oh, yeah, or oh, yeah?
Yes, Mr. Beebe. Which is it?
That's pretty funny. What's funny about this to me is that Mr. Sweeney doesn't say, hey, be quiet, you guys, or you get back to work, or listen, you need to listen up. He says, which is it? Like he's participating in their conversation on some level. That's pretty funny. Gross biology dissection.
On the one hand, I want to do the dissection with Mose. But on the other hand, I want Susie to love me.
Dissection is
so it's not even that he thinks it's wrong or they shouldn't do it. He just wants to gain Susie's affections by siding with her. And that does happen in school also. But let's see how he wrestles with this dilemma here.
a vital part of the education process. Frogs are vertebrates like humans, so we share the same organ structure.
How do you know so much about it?
I've done hundreds of dissections.
But this is the first time we've ever done it in school.
I know.
What does that mean? He goes home and does it? That is somewhat unusual. Yeah, I see Ned's face here. Yeah, that's a little unusual to say the very least, but let's see where this goes here.
Go on, say it. We've been looking forward to dissection all year, and Susie Crabgrass gets you to back out. Hey, no woman tells me what to do. Oh, please. If Susie asked you to...
Mose tells him what to do all the time, it seems like. And by the way, this does happen where in biology classes where you do have some sort of dissection, you have students that will look forward to it all year, all semester, or whatever it is, because the teacher will typically advertise that on the front end or have it in the syllabus somehow. And you, like I said, you're going to be learning about that animal systems and anatomy and so forth before the dissection. And so, yeah, they do kind of look forward to it, except, of course, for the students who really aren't into it, but many are.
Steal that frog and set it free, you would jump. That is so not true. Just steal the frog and set it free. Copy that.
Wait, I thought the mission was to rig Sweeney's chair to collapse.
No, we're gonna free the frog.
Oh, well, you free the frog. I'm going to rig Sweeney's chair. It's more fun.
And that's a potential firing. Thank you very much. I thought Gordy was going to maybe keep clean on this one. And many of you have said, oh, you should do a compilation at the end of the series. I think I will do that, the Gordy Firings Counter compilation. I'm looking forward to that very much. But he's going to steal the frog for Susie, I guess, which that would be a really big deal. I mean, most people don't think about this, but that frog is school property, quote unquote. And believe it or not, there are actually companies that sell that to schools, like Lab Supply Company. Those do exist, that sell things like test tubes and burners and cylinders and beakers and other lab supplies. They do sell specimens also, as they're known. A lot of them are dead. You can buy dead animals or preserved animals, and the schools have to pay for those. They don't just run around in the woods and find a frog and then dissect it. You would buy it from one of these lab companies. So think about it. If the school is paying for this and then Ned turns around and steals it, that's a pretty big deal there.
Birdie left the nest. Get out. Get out.
Okay, so he's coming back. Uh-oh. And I'm always amazed. I've said it several times. Like, if they had cameras, they would see that. I'm certain even a small school like this is going to have some form of cameras. I would be very surprised if they didn't, even in the time that this was filmed, which was roughly, I guess, 20 years ago now. But they're going to have cameras. It'd be very hard to catch all these things and hold the proper party responsible if they didn't.
Big B.
Yeah, and this happened once in iCarly. I think it was the I Got Detention episode. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But someone, or Gordy in this case, messes with his chair, like loosens a screw or whatever, and then he falls over, and he could get hurt, and especially if he gets hurt. I mean, that's a real problem. Gordy could already get fired for that, but if he gets hurt, he could get fired, or worse, get sued if it's known that he's the one who did it. He could be held liable for damages if he got hurt.
Gordy.
Oh, so he knows.
Hey, sorry I snapped at you. You've always stuck with me before. I know we'll have fun at dissection.
Uh-oh.
You weak man.
She instantly knew. She didn't even have to say, what is that? What do you have? No, she instantly knew the whole thing and just said, you weak man. That's pretty funny.
Quick, take the frog to the playground and let it go.
We're on it. Move, move. My frog is missing.
I know nothing.
Well, you might know.
This also, in a weird way, reminds me of the old movie E.T. If you've ever seen that, E.T. Extraterrestrial. I remember seeing it when I was young. And there's the scene toward the end where Elliot kind of releases all the frogs and tries to throw them outside or whatever he does. For some reason, it brings back that memory as well.
Something after dissection. It's informative. And you could find that inside you is a future Dr. Bigby.
Okay.
Or Mr. Crabgrass.
Let
me tell you.
Okay, well, on the one hand, Sweeney again is trying to encourage him, which this episode and the Notebook episode, again, check it out if you haven't seen the Golden Notebook, where Sweeney kind of see a different side of him and he tries to encourage Ned and, as he put it, trick him into learning. And he said, you could be Dr. Bigby. And then Mo says, or you could be Mr. Crabgrass because he does whatever she wants. That's pretty funny.
Ned Bigby is a manly man, and no woman gets between me and my manliness. I say yes to dissection. Say no to dissection. Say
Oh,
no to
boy.
dissection.
And by the way, they would not be allowed to do this. I mean, what they're doing is telling students actively not to do what is an assignment, and that could affect their grade. They would not be allowed to do this, at least on school campus during school hours. It just wouldn't happen.
Why isn't Loomer helping out? Billy can't wait to dissect. He's not sweet and sensitive like you.
Hmm.
Say no to dissection.
I'll say no to dissection and
Oh, now he's definitely gonna be on her side after that little remark.
growing up that comes along with it.
Say no to dissection.
Give me that you're so pathetic look. I'm not. This is the I can't believe you lied to your best friend look. This is the you're so pathetic look. Comes with the head shake.
Okay, I admit it. I'm weak when it comes to Susie. What are you gonna do? Sue me?
Claire? Oh, I knew it. The second he said sue me, boom, Claire. With this is some sort of lawsuit or contract or something like that. I love this character. Claire Sawyer, future lawyer. It's great, whoever came up with it.
You're suing me?
You must stay 50 feet away from Sweeney's room and cannot interfere with an important biology lesson.
Yeah, and you don't need a lawsuit. You can't sue someone for that. I mean, you sue people for money damages. You can't sue someone for, it sounded like a restraining order, which you can't, it doesn't work like that, of course. But now what you could do is just go straight to the teacher or the principal and say, look at this booth he's got. By the way, he stole school property that they probably had to pay for. And that was a big old frog. I don't remember schools having frogs that are quite that big to dissect. And again, maybe for this reason, I don't know, a lot of the animals that I've seen be dissected in schools are actually dead. They're already dead and preserved. Kind of for this reason, I could see this being an issue, having to not only dissect the animal, but kill the animal. That's a little different. So I could understand why most of the ones I've seen are no longer living. They're already dead and preserved. But let's see where this little story goes here.
Don't worry, Ned. You'll come up with the tip for stopping dissection. I know this is important to you.
No, it's important to you.
Uh-oh.
He's only helping so you'll like him. Believe me, you don't know Ned like I do.
Oh, I think I do. And he's against dissection because it's wrong. Right, Ned?
No, he's against dissection because of her, not because he thinks it's wrong. So you see this battle of the wills here. I'm interested to see what happens.
Oh, it's time.
He bails
There we
out. He's gone.
Crabgrass. Mosley.
I am so sick of hearing about frogs.
Hmm.
I told you guys to take that frog to the park and let it go.
We did. We let it go in the sweet.
And by the way, look at this. He's built a little habitat, and as cute as this is, if he is helping them hide this frog, that's another potential firing. I think we're up to 2 now in this episode. Let's see where we go from here.
Things we let it go on the slides.
Yeah, he had so much fun tonight. We're going to the movies.
We named him Pete Froggy.
When he catches us, we're dead. And so is Pete Froggy.
I want to talk to you. I need to have my chair fixed.
You mean the one that he damaged intentionally? And again, that would be a pretty serious issue. I guess he didn't get hurt here.
Oh, what a cute little house. It's almost frog size. Wait. Are you behind the missing frog?
What?
Kind of.
No. Maybe he hopped away.
Or maybe it hopped on a bus to Florida to escape your dissection.
The dissection frogs come from a factory packed in formaldehyde. I got that frog as a class pet.
You see there? That would make total sense. You hear what he said? The dissection frogs come packed in formaldehyde, which is a preservative. And that is usually what happens, not live animals. I don't know if I've ever seen a live animal or not, or if it is, it would be like a worm. I think I have seen that, like a worm that is alive that the students would dissect. But anything larger than that I can recall has been dead or preserved or whatever, like he said.
I'm not completely evil.
Mm.
Besides, it's fun to watch him eat crickets.
Eat crickets. Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
You're up to something. And since my threats don't seem to work on the three of you, I'm going to have to think of something completely different. Would you return the frog, please?
Wow. I've never heard Sweeney talk like that. That's so out of character.
I promise you no harm will come to him.
I remember that song from the Clubs episode when Mose and Crabgrass are sewing and they keep going faster and faster and faster. Oh boy.
You got it jammed here.
And then just explodes, or they break the sewing machines. I think that was the School Clubs episode. Check that episode out if you haven't seen it. Uh-oh,
He's gone.
you lose
He's
it?
gone?
He's gone. All right, don't panic. Cookie and I will find Pete Frog.
And I have to tell Susie that she can't come between me and a friend.
Hmm.
Doing that dissection with Mose. Free your mind and free the frogs.
I was about to say, usually he goes back on that pretty much instantly. That's pretty funny.
Free the frogs.
Protest all you want, you two. But let me remind you that dissection is a mandatory class requirement. And if you
Yeah, and see, that's my point. So students do have First Amendment rights. There's a bunch of Supreme Court cases here in the United States that govern, okay, what can you say at school? What can you not say at school? Where do students' First Amendment rights end, and where does the school's responsibility to maintain order begin? And where's the compromise? Where do you draw the line? And there have been a bunch of court cases that have helped to determine that. Now, they are not protesting after school. They're doing it on school campus during school hours, and they're protesting something that is actually in the course standards that's part of the student's grade. And so they would not be allowed to do this at all.
don't do it, you'll get an F.
Hmm.
Fine. Then I'll take that F. And so on that.
Wow.
What? I can't afford an F. I can barely afford a C.
So I guess you'll be doing the dissection with your best friend, right, Ned? You
Mm.
wouldn't cut open a cute little frog, right, Ned?
Even if it's dead, I wonder, does she still object even if the frog is already dead? I don't know.
Ned. Whoa! I love that bell.
Saved by the Bell. They're looking for the frog. Okay. I thought there was food in there.
Get out of my kitchen.
Rose, you don't understand.
No, you don't understand. I have spinach to cream, but I don't mind creaming you two first.
Oh,
Now
no.
get out.
Really, we have to.
Gordy, I see pain in your future, and I don't need the beans, baby, to see it. Now get out. Get out.
Yeah, you can't make threats. That's kind of a veiled threat. That would be an issue for this lunchroom worker if she said that.
Out, 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 out.
And, I'm going to sort of give him a pass on this. He shouldn't have. The biggest problem with this, with Gordy, is him having Cookie up there. That's a little dangerous. Would he be outright fired for that? Probably not, unless Cookie gets hurt here. And again, he's trying to find the frog at this point and not do anything more to get it lost or stolen or whatever. He's trying to find it at this point. So I guess I give him a pass on this. Uh-oh.
This is my grandma's recipe.
There's no way she doesn't hear that frog if it made that noise. please tell me she's not going to put him in the spinach. That's pretty gross. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, don't blend them up. Okay, thank goodness. Oh, they think she's... Uh-oh. Choices. Man. And that's another potential firing. Wow. Him just hitting stuff out of their hand, which even if the frog got blended up, why did that happen? Because of him. So he's kind of guilty no matter what. I think this is the third potential firing for Gordy. Yeah. So then I don't know how much of the episode is left, but this seems like a troubled episode as far as Gordy is concerned.
Johnny beat Froggy. Oh, we tried to save him. The lunch lady blended him into cream spinach.
He was so young, so alive.
And so
There he
right
is.
there.
Oh, you're still alive. I missed you so much. The thought of a little frog getting hurt was unbearable.
What are you talking about? You told me this morning you've dissected hundreds of frogs.
Yeah, but those are virtual dissections.
Virtual.
An online frog and an educational website.
Virtual dissection.
Which makes way more sense. An online frog on an educational website. Okay.
Yeah, you dissect frogs on the computer without all the creepy real parts.
That's it.
Okay, class. Today, you will be dividing into groups to dissect a frog.
Which is very common. Typically, you would have either a small group or maybe partners, 2 people to a dissection, depending on what it is and how big it is and how complicated it is. Yeah, that is pretty common.
But thanks to Mr. Bigby, you now have 2 options.
Okay.
Real dissection or virtual dissection on the computer.
All right. Well, that ended up working out quite well, I guess. And yeah, I could see Mr. Sweeney doing this because, again, they're supposed to be mastering whatever standard it is, which probably has to do with identifying specific animal parts. I honestly don't know. I'd have to look up the course standards for whatever this is. Biology, he has to teach them the standards. Now, how he does it, that's kind of up to him. I don't know if the standards for a course like this would say you have to dissect a live or dead animal. You can't do it virtually like that, but that's what he's going to allow him to do. So good for him.
Think of all the frogs we're saving. My hero.
Why? Why did he instantly go to that? It's kind of weird. Someone pays you a compliment and you just close your eyes and pucker up. That's kind of weird.
What are you doing? You know I'm still going out with Loomer.
Yeah, and they haven't mentioned that in a while. So honestly, I didn't know that because they just haven't mentioned that whole thing in several episodes, or at least I didn't notice it.
Of course you are. It's just gonna be one of those friendly victory kisses. Do it in Europe all the time.
So, you ready for dissection?
Yep. Said we do it together, and we will.
Okay. The dead one, I'm guessing.
Do the virtual dissection together.
Dissection. It's an important part of science.
Mhm.
But ask your teacher if you could try virtual dissection.
And I don't know. I'm sure that exists. I don't know if that existed at this time that the episode was airing. I don't have much experience with that, with a virtual dissection. Let me know if you do.
It's online and really
Okay.
cool. And don't make fun of squeamish kids, because you could be next.
Yeah, very true. And like I said at the beginning, everybody reacts a little bit differently to this part of a biology course. And yeah, you shouldn't mock either students who are really into it or students who are really squeamish about it. Yeah, good advice here.
And
And if you're really against that
And they noticed the smell, and there is quite a unique smell with a lot of those, depending on what type of animal it is and how it's preserved.
dissection, a note from a parent can get you out of almost anything.
Yeah, I don't know if it would get you out of that. Maybe, depending on the age of the students and what was being dissected. Any teacher who is decent is going to give some sort of alternative assignment that still meets the standard. Just like Mr. Sweeney did, he allowed them a virtual dissection.
Mr. Sweeney, what are you doing?
Well, I realized you kids were right. So I am releasing P. Froggy into the wild.
Okay. He could have kept him as a pet, I guess. I've seen a lot of science classrooms do that. They don't call it a pet. They call it an exhibit. It's a science exhibit, and they might use that to demonstrate certain standards. I don't know what, but particularly in a biology class, you might use it to demonstrate something for the class over a long term or for a certain unit. Make him in the woods first?
Bye, P. Froggy. We won't forget you.
I was about to say, probably should take him out in the woods so this doesn't happen. You get instantly run over. That's pretty gross. Ugh. Hope that wasn't the frog.
Hey! That bus driver ran over a can of my cream
I was about to say, surely the producers of the show wouldn't be quite that bleak about what happens to the frog. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
You guys don't look good.
Yep, so that's the episode. And, I just thought when she said, oh, you guys don't look good, they almost went the whole episode without doing something gross or getting something gross on them. But I guess they just had to do it. But I really enjoyed that one. School dissections or animal dissections are a part of some biology courses. Not every school does it, and it depends on the course standards and whether the teacher can meet that standard another way. And again, I don't see it as much in middle school, but more in high school. But it does happen, and it is part of biology courses in many schools. I enjoyed this one, though. Looking forward to the next episode. Again, if you're enjoying this series, and tune in from week to week on Tuesdays for Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, hit that like button below and subscribe to the channel also so you don't miss any of my content. I'm going to leave the video here, and I'll see you on the next one here on School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching.